I'm going to share with you all the strategies that I used to use as a student so I could be ready and prepared for exams using study guides. Welcome to Efficiency and Organization. This is the YouTube channel where I share a lot of information on how you could be organized, productive, well managed with time, well planned, basically in every aspect of life so that you can succeed. So this particular video is specifically made for students of all ages, particularly middle school, high school, and also college. So I have a bachelor's degree, 2 master's degrees, 2 teaching credentials, and a doctoral degree. So you can imagine throughout my life, I've had to study and prepare for exams a lot. So the first thing you want to do is get a study guide. If your teacher gave you a study guide, your professor gave you one, and it's not detailed enough, you have to seek more information. Don't worry about bugging them. It's your grade. You have to be advocating for yourself. So make sure that they give you a study guide with as much detail as possible so that way you could prepare. For example, if you are in an astronomy class and they are asking you, there's going to be a question on a test about the orbits of the moon, what's like the orbit of the moon. You need to be able to know how you're going to answer that question on the test. Okay, so study guide, having a very good study guide that has questions and answers is key, is number one. Number two, use a timer. If you are like me, you probably have somewhat of a short attention span. For me to sit and focus, I probably can't do more than 10 minutes. Then my mind starts to wander. It's just the way it is. If you could stay focused for more time than 10 minutes, great, you have way more abilities and powers than I do. So for me, 10 minutes is like it. Then I need to take a small break. So I set a timer, and then at the end of the 10 minutes, the timer goes off and I go, okay, I need to take a break. So that's how I study. I sit in a quiet room where I'm like going over the answers of the study guide, and then I'm also trying to focus on my answers, so I give myself breaks in between. The break means going to the restroom, going to drink water, just sitting up and just kind of closing my eyes. It doesn't have to be anything lengthy. If I just need like a minute, 2 minutes, sometimes like 3-4 minutes, just to like relax my brain and then refocus on studying again. Next, I work on one question at a time. So I know that a lot of people get very overwhelmed when they have to study for exams. And when they get overwhelmed, they go, you know what, I'm not going to bother. I'm just not going to study, and I'm just going to go and see how well I do. Well, then you're taking a chance. For me, that did not work as a student. I had to be very well prepared. And so that's why just focus on one question at a time when you are studying. Now, if your teacher says, I'm not going to give you a study guide, so you've taken notes, anything that's written in the notes is possible for the test. Well, you know what? Then you have to make your own study guide. So take your notebook and do one question at a time. Start from the beginning of the unit, look at everything you wrote, and make your own study guide. When you are going over the questions, be sure to hide the answer and answer it mentally. If nobody's in the room, if you could say it loudly, like out loudly, it's best. But if you can't, write your answer, okay? So don't look at it, write it down, and then lift your hand and see how you answered. You might want to consider doing something like this, where you have the answer, just block it with a piece of paper so you don't see it. After you finish answering, go like this, take a look and see if you answered correctly, okay? If you did, great, move on. Don't study the questions that you answered correctly the first time, because chances are if you see that on the test, you're gonna know it. Now, let's say you don't know an answer, or you didn't answer completely enough. This is where the next step comes in, which is my top favorite, flashcards. I actually made a whole separate video on flashcards that I will share in the description of this video. Let's say it's like a physics class and your question has to do with gravity. So for example, what if they ask you, in what direction does gravity act on the earth and why? So you need to know the answer, right? What I would do if I were you, See if you know it. Like just look at the question and see if you can answer it correctly and completely. If you can, great. Don't look at that question again because you do not have time. If you don't know, or if you didn't answer correctly the first time, or you didn't answer completely the first time, go ahead and make a flashcard. Write that question here and write the complete answer here. When you do that, then let's say you have 10 questions total by the end of like reviewing all the questions on the study guide, then that means these are the only ones you need to focus on. Focus on only questions you don't know. So these ones carry with you. You go to the bathroom, take them with you. You go somewhere else, take them with you. Just keep them in your hand. And every time you get a chance, study. Ask yourself the question, look at the answer. Ask yourself, look at the answer. If you get them right and you're like, oh, I got this, throw them away. I love that part. I love being able to throw away a flashcard, knowing that I got this. I'm going to be able to answer it correctly if I see it on the exam. And again, this is the process I have used to study over and over again with all my degrees, all the subjects that I've had to take in middle school, in high school. You can even use some of these skills as an elementary student. So just make sure that you are using those study guides as effectively as possible. And by the way, if you could please subscribe, I'd appreciate it, because everything I have to share on this channel and also on efficiencyandorganization.com is everything to do with being efficient, organized, productive, well-planned, well managed with time in every aspect of life, whether you're a student in your personal life. Efficiency helps us do more in less time using the least amount of resources that we have. So all the information I share is very helpful. You could subscribe on the website and also here. But what I want to share with you before I go is be sure to take advantage of retakes. Like, I know for final exams, it's like impossible to have a retake, but throughout the year, if your professors, your teachers offer exam retakes, take your exam, use it as a study guide, use the same methods that I just showed you, use the questions and the answers, and just study, study, study. Next thing you know, you go and retake it. You're going to do so much better. Put away all distractions when you're trying to study. So no phone near you, no anything near you that's going to get your attention, so you could be as focused as possible, taking short intermittent breaks in between your 5, 10, 15, 20-minute focus sessions. That's all I have for you, and I will catch you in the next video.